What's good, everyone? Welcome to the Mana Dorks channel. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mike.
And you're watching Thought Scour. Mike, Thought Scour, what is it?
Thought Scour is a free, open-ended discussion. We try to come up with a question for the day, and
Hello.
and Nick gets phone calls in the middle of it. But really what we do is we come up with a question pertaining to Magic, obviously, and we decide, for this case, we're talking about proxies. We're asking, are proxies okay? So in this episode, we're going to chat about that, all the different ways to use proxies, things that go along with it, and see what we come up with.
Okay, so I think we're both in agreement that proxies are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So we should change the question a little, and maybe when is it appropriate to use a proxy?
Yeah, I think I like that better. When is it okay to use proxies? Because if it's just me and Nick playing at the kitchen table, then our whole deck can be proxies. We have decks that are entirely
proxies.
Because what does it do? It saves us money.
Yeah.
Right?
We can test out ideas. We don't have to play it digitally, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Because there's nothing like holding a fistful of cards and actually playing it rather than just putting all those cards into a website that allows you to play the game.
Right.
So I would rather print out all of my cards and just pay for the sleeves in the deck box than buy all of the cards and then find out that the deck might not work the way I want it to.
Okay.
You know?
So let's kind of get some points going here.
Sure.
I want to tell you a story you might remember. We were playing Magic in a store one time, and we were playing against this guy, and he pulls out one of those dual lands.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, where'd you get that from? He's like, oh, it's a proxy. And then we were like, oh, okay, I didn't know we were allowed to cheat. Like, in that moment, it wasn't okay because we didn't know the guy.
Right, because we didn't have that conversation beforehand. If he had said, I have a couple proxies in here, there's a couple lands and one artifact, then we'd be like, all right, thanks for telling us, we'll be on the lookout for that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when it just comes out and you just see a paper in a sleeve, you're like, what's going on there? So
I think it was foiled too, or it was.
Oh, yeah?
It was some weird alternate art.
Yeah.
But
well, I play proxies. I have one proxy in one of my decks. I have a Bayou in my Gitrog deck because I wanted a Bayou, but I don't want to lose all of the money in my bank account. You know, I'm not going to buy a Bayou just so that I can play it once every 2 months when I play the Gitrog deck. You know?
But then when I do see it, I can use that as an excuse to say why you beat me.
Mike's deck is overpowered because he uses proxies. Well,
I do have a proxy.
And what is your proxy?
Sarah's Sanctum.
Sarah's Sanctum, which taps to add white for every enchantment you control.
It's not that good of a card.
But you play it in your enchantment deck. So, like, obviously it's a good card. So then there's that disparity. It's like, when is a card too overpowered to be allowed for a proxy?
Right. And let's tell them what happened right before we started the show. I said, maybe I should put a Gaia's Cradle in my... and he stopped me right there and he said no because he knew exactly what deck I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was going to put it in my token deck.
Right. So it gets to a point where, at least for me, playing with new people, I would say if the proxy is going to drastically improve your game or your deck is centered around the proxy, then maybe you should be buying that card.
Yeah.
But if it's just like a regular land or it's something that you haven't had access to yet, maybe it's not in your local game store and you don't want to order from online for whatever reason, then that's totally fine. But talk about it beforehand.
Definitely. Make it known.
There's that rule 0, that conversation you have before you play a game. Like, what's the power level of your deck? You can also ask, are there any proxies in your deck? Because you don't want to be surprised in the middle of the game.
Yeah. I think we can throw Dan Glover under the bus because when I first started playing with him, at least he had 3 or 4 proxies in each of his decks. At the time, I didn't know any better. I was like, okay, whatever. They were ugly too. Just he didn't have a color printer or whatever, so they were just black and white, tiny images.
Yeah, so it's like where is that line where there's either too many proxies or the proxies that you have are too overpowered?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the circumstance.
Yeah. I feel like that's always how our thought scours go. We're like, yeah, this is true, but It kind of depends on these
Well,
other things
that's
as
the
well.
beauty of the show. We don't come in with a strong opinion.
That's true.
We're working it out, and that's content.
That is, yeah, that's the whole point of this episode or this series.
Yeah.
Now, with our proxies, we only have one of them, but ours are a little different because, like my Bayou, I bought it was like $4 on eBay, and it was this like fake hollow foiled version of the card, and it's the same with your Sarah Sanctum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've actually purchased those. We've put some sort of money into it, and then we sleeved it up.
I don't know how legal that is, but
Well, it's legal at our kitchen table.
I'm saying legal copyright.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if they're allowed to sell them like that.
That's a good point. You never think about that.
Yeah.
You think about copyright with like video and music.
I
but-
think in the because we're content creators, I looked in the Wizards copyright section, and they say you can use the pictures of the cards, whatever, in your videos, but you can't use it with the intent to sell copies.
Interesting.
So selling a. So I don't know. They can't use the intellectual properties. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So they can't use keywords
Okay.
or art. It has to be completely different. The name is probably intellectual property as well.
Well, I don't think you'd change the name on it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's legal.
Okay. But there's websites like Mythic Black Core is like specifically for
I don't
buying
think-
proxies.
Yeah, I don't
with
know.
different art, obviously, and it's just like a PDF, I think, that it gives you, and you have to print it out and do it yourself, or it's something like that. But
Well, luckily, the question isn't whether it's legal in real life or not.
yes, that's true. Our question is, when is it okay to play proxies? Because obviously, it has to be okay sometimes, and it should be not okay sometimes, and I think that's all right.
Right.
If we were to host a tournament where there's prize money at the end, or even prize packs, then we'd say probably no proxies.
No proxies.
Just because someone could make an entirely proxy deck and probably win.
Well, these cards are expensive for good reason most of the time.
Yeah, it's like they're expensive not only because they're good cards, but also because there's so few of them.
Yeah.
So you have limited access to them. Like all these reserve list cards that are spiking in price right now just are hard to get a hold of because nobody wants to sell them. They're going to hold on to them like stocks in case they go up.
Yeah, kudos to anybody who bought those last year when they all went way down.
Yeah, true. Seriously. So now back to what we had said before, when it's okay to play proxies. Obviously at the kitchen table.
Yep.
Obviously not in a tournament. But what about if I'm playing like spell table with a couple new people?
I think we touched on this before. Make it known and make sure it's okay.
Definitely.
And have a sideboard so you can swap it out if you need to.
Yeah. Keep a couple extra cards that might fit into that slot, just in case there is someone that's not okay with it. If there is someone that's not okay with it, you have to abide by that, you know?
I think the first couple times I played with the Sarah Sanctum in my deck, I asked you, like, do you want me to play with this?
Yeah.
And sometimes you were like, nah, so I'd just pull it out.
Right, you just like discard the card and draw another one or something like that, you know? It's especially when it's such a casual thing just between the two of us, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But having that Rule Zero conversation right before you start the game is super important for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
Now, I have a couple cards, and you thought that I had a couple proxies that actually turned out to be altered cards, where I had an artist actually paint on the card. How does that differ from a proxy?
Well, you paid for the card.
Yeah.
And that's essentially the argument with proxies, is that you didn't buy the card.
Yep.
So you paid for the card, and then you had someone paint over it.
Right.
It's still the card.
It is still the card. Now, all three of my altered cards sit in the command zone. I had my commanders altered, not just a card that's in my 99. So
those cards deserve to be beautiful.
Yeah.
The commanders.
Commanders, I think all commanders should be foiled. If you're playing a commander deck, you should try to foil your commander just to give it that little extra specialty. But what if I were to make a new deck? Like I have a Grothama deck, and I had an artist alter my Grothama to look like the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob. It's
we can
fantastic.
pop a picture up
right
now. Yeah.
Great. We'll pop a picture up right here. It's incredible.
It's beautiful.
And it's so fun to play with. It makes me want to play the deck more because I spent money to have them alter it, but also because it looks so cool. So you don't want to put that into your 99, because if you sleeve your cards, you can see just a little bit that the card is thicker than the other
Yeah.
ones because it has that layer of paint. So my opinion on that is that if you want a card altered, proxy it to put it in your deck. I know that's
Okay.
a little strange to think about, but like, find an alternate art of it to proxy into your deck, and then if you feel like you need to, have the true card in your box in case someone is like, you can't play a printed card.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The other thing you could do too is put a like what they do with the double face cards is they put a placeholder in.
Yeah, totally.
So when you see that,
Just like a blank token, slip it in there and
when you
write
see
Sarah
it come
Sanctum
by,
on it. Yeah.
grab the thing out of your box. And,
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a flip card. You're right.
Yeah.
So, well, now I'm thinking about my alters. I'd love to get some more cards altered. If any of you are card artists, comment below and let us know some of your work, because I have some stuff for you. I'd love to get my cards altered.
Definitely.
What else do you have to say about proxies?
I really enjoy proxies. I don't know.
Now, what about entirely proxied decks?
That's different because the intent is to see if you put a regular card into a proxy deck, then I'd have a problem.
We're playing specifically proxies, and I can't have any basic regular cards. Okay.
And that's definitely a fun way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Proxy the whole deck.
And it's the cheapest way to
Yeah.
play out any deck idea.
I mean, you burn through ink, but
yeah, you do.
I'd rather pay $20 for an ink cartridge than, $300 for a deck.
That's very true. It also allows you to try out new ideas. You know, I had an idea. I wanted to make my Rune Tail deck where nobody on my board can be dealt damage, and nothing can really happen to my life total. But I didn't know how feasible it was going to be, so I decided to make it a proxy first, the whole deck is a proxy, just to see if the idea would work.
I hate that deck.
I know you hate that deck, but the deck as a whole is only like $220, which is an average to low deck cost.
Yeah.
So it's not like I would have an issue actually buying those cards, but I wanted to try out the style of deck before I committed to buying the cards. And I think that is the best way to use proxies, is to just try out your ideas. Unless you have access to a ton of cards on Arena or something like that, or
Untap is another great tool.
if you have another way to play online with just any cards that you could pop in there. But if you don't and you're only playing tabletop, then print some stuff out, because you can try out a ton of different things. You don't even have to use colored ink. If you really want, you could just do black and white cards. You could even go as far as to slide a token in every sleeve and just write on the card what it is. Now, at that point, it gets to be a little difficult for your opponents, because you have a board filled with like bears, insects, and squirrels and stuff, but it's actually like artifacts and enchantments. But that is another form of proxying cards.
Yeah. I mean, I think we pretty much touched on all the problems and solutions.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, other than like surprising someone with a proxy, I don't see an issue
or
with them.
competitive play.
Yeah, exactly. If
Like I would pull it out if we went to like Friday Night Magic or something. If that ever happens again. Like
right. Once tournaments start happening again,
you'll see us there.
Yeah, and proxies will be out of our decks. But up until then, we're just going to keep trying out things with proxies so that we can become better Magic players, you know?
And two, the last year's been really tough, and we found ourselves really getting into Magic because there was nothing else to do, and it gets kind of stale after a while.
Yeah.
So we use the proxy decks to kind of add a new twist and a new flair.
Yeah, these ideas that we had but never had the money to put into it. Like my second proxy deck that I made is Braids, which is just about dropping big creatures.
I like Braids.
I do like Braids.
But only because it helps me. For the most part.
But like, I'm not going to spend $160 to get both Emrakul's and both, now I can't think of the other one.
Whatever it is.
Whatever. But all of the Eldrazi Titans, I'm not going to spend all that money to get them when, like I said, I'll play the deck once a month, once every 2 months, if that. At this point, oh gosh, between all of my decks, proxies included, I probably have 22 to 23 decks. So the 1 time, 2 times a week that we actually get to play, it's not worth it for me to spend $600 for this idea that I had and then only play it a couple times. So
Yeah.
proxying for that case was absolutely perfect.
Definitely.
So try out some proxies. We highly recommend it. There's some great sites to just put all your cards into a 3x3 list so that you can
Yeah.
just print them and you can cut them out. They're the perfect card size. I don't know what sites we've used in the past, but
Just Google it.
Yeah,
Whatever the first
seriously.
one is, they all work the same.
yeah, you just print them out, cut them out, sleeve them up. We recommend putting a card in the sleeve as well.
Yeah.
Like a token or a basic land behind it, just because shuffling sleeves with just one piece of paper inside is not going to go very well. But yeah, that's what we'd recommend.
Definitely. You have anything else to say on the matter?
No, this
I think we
happened to
beat
be
it to death.
Yeah, it happened to be our shortest thought scour probably, just because.
Well, we always think that, and then it's like 2 hours later. But
Well, anyway, we hope you've enjoyed. Nick, where can they find us?
everywhere. So head over to the manadorksmtg.com. You'll find links to our YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. We added a new one, Discord. We have a Discord server now, and people are starting to flood in a little bit.
Absolutely.
And
Post your polls in there, chat with us about our content, and maybe
you could
we'll
even
ask
play
for
play some games with us in there.
Yeah,
We're
we're
looking
going to
for
start
people
up
to
on
play with.
Spell Table and
Yeah.
Untap. We'll be very active, so keep an eye on our Discord. Nick, what about some cards that we've been selling?
Oh, we do have a TCG store, and there'll be a link that you can click on, and you can see what our inventory is, and we're slowly adding a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, we got some good stuff in there. I don't
There
know.
are.
Some of our best pulls from our Commander Legends box. Everything that came out of our Modern Horizons box is in there. So if you haven't watched those videos, go watch those videos and find the cards that you like from there. Click our TCG store and then buy them from us.
As long as they haven't been bought.
Yeah, they're going quick.
They
just
are.
like hotcakes.
I
So-
dropped 8 envelopes in the mail this morning.
Wow. Yeah, so they're flooding out. So make sure if you want any of our cards, go on and buy them quick. They're all at or below market price, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I just matched market price. So
great.
whatever
So
that
find
is.
us there, support us that way. Otherwise, you can support us through Patreon, which is on our website.
I think there's one more thing we can talk about.
What is it?
A giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Should we talk about a little giveaway?
Yeah, we have a giveaway happening right now. Go to our Instagram, the Mana Dorks MTG. There are 3 chances to win. You can win a Kaldheim bundle. You can win my personal deck that I constructed, Doran the Siege Tower, and there are 3 individual cards that are one package that you can win as well. So a bundle, a deck, and 3 cards. You have 3 chances to win. Very easy to enter. It's a follow, a like, and a share, something like that. Head over to
YouTube, subscribe, and comment a
yeah,
friend.
and those give you additional entries as well. So there's more than one way to enter, multiple chances to win. So head on over there. We are announcing the winners on April 16th, and good luck to everyone.
I think that's all we had for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe,
Please.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.